Is the title of a documentary by Ken Burns about 5 black and Hispanic teenagers who were convicted of a brutally violent rape in 1990 in Manhattan. Donald Trump took out a full-page ad in the New York Times and other New York newspapers before the trial, urging New York to bring back the death penalty because of that case. Ken Burns' documentary tells the story of how the Central Park Five were released from prison when someone else confessed to the crime and his DNA matched the DNA in the case. Once again this week, Donald Trump insisted that the Central Park Five are guilty. Joining us now for an exclusive interview, Emmy Award-winning documentarian and filmmaker Ken Burns. Ken, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks for having me. The film was made by Sarah Burns and David McMahon, as well as me.
I just wanted to read to you Donald Trump's statement this week about the Central Park Five. He said, they admitted they were guilty. The police doing the original investigation say they were guilty. The fact that that case was settled with so much evidence against them is outrageous, and the woman so badly injured will never be the same. What is your response to those elements of Donald Trump's statement? And I get the feeling, Ken, he has never seen the documentary because the answers are in that documentary.
The answers are most definitely in our film. The facts don't matter to Donald Trump, very clearly. The boys didn't do it. They served out their full sentences for the 1989 crime. They had coerced confessions. Some of them spent hours under intense grilling with no food, no water, no parents, and were told, look, if you just say the other person did it, we'll let you go. It was a kind of circular firing squad. What was missing was their mention of anybody else, but they had this unknown DNA. This was an incredibly bloody crime scene. There was none of the boys on the crime scene and none of the crime scene on the boys. It didn't match. The DNA that they found didn't match any of the boys. And 13 years later, when the oldest, Corey Wise, 16 years old, was about to serve out his full sentence, he bumped into the guy who actually did it, who went on after the crime to murder a pregnant woman and to rape other women, ignored by the police, the MO, and the DAs who were certain they had these guys. He confessed, the DNA matched, and a judge, after the fact, after they were all out, vacated their convictions. And it's only been recently that the city sued. May I also add that the sixth victim in this, of course the most important, the rape victim, herself ran the New York City Marathon in either 94 or 95. And so this sort of damaged goods that he is perpetrating is, again, one of his lies. Let's not hide, the lead here, Lawrence. This is racism 101. He has been blowing this dog whistle for as long as he has been around. He took out the full-page ads asking for the death penalty for these children, 2 14-year-olds, 2 15-year-olds, and a developmentally challenged 16-year-old, to kill them for a crime they did not commit, which the law has already excused them from, even though they served out their full sentences, even though when they had a chance to plea bargain, they did not take it. Even when they had a chance at parole, they would not admit their guilt because they didn't do it and had to enroll in sex offenders class. They still maintained their dignity. And these are 5 human beings. And just like the women that he has spent today denigrating, and indeed his whole life, or immigrants, this is Antron McCray, a human being, Kevin Richardson, a human being, Yusef Salaam, a human being, Raymond Santana, a human being, and Corey Wise, a human being. And what we find in the study of leadership, historians who care anything about American history, is that one of the key ingredients of leadership is empathy. And this person has zero empathy for anyone but himself.
Ken, what we're seeing again today is that Donald Trump doesn't know how to apologize, but he also doesn't know how to separate fact from fiction. And that's what you're talking about in relation to this case and more broadly with the historians who've been talking about Donald Trump.
So know, I gave a commencement address in June at Stanford University in which I was trying to place this election in its very unusual context, that for the first time in 216 years, we had someone who was manifestly unqualified for the job, which had never happened in our republic. And many historians responded to that, and we set up a Facebook page where they could record, unmediated by the media, meaning their grandkids or their wives or their sons filmed them on a cell phone and posted their thoughts. And it is a troubling, devastating indictment well before today's stuff came out, well before the blaming that the immigrants are coming over the border just to vote against him. I mean, these are the rantings of a megalomaniac. Of course the truth doesn't matter, and you don't apologize. You just double down, and that's what he did again with the Central Park Five. It is a tragedy.
Ken, the Central Park Five, available on Netflix. How do people see it now?
Well, you know, we're trying to get PBS to broadcast it again. It's available at Shop PBS. We're trying to make it available for a free download as soon as we can.
Ken Burns, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lawrence.